Okay, we're rolling.
Hey, it's How to Podcast Series. It's Dave with you. Hope you're doing well. I want to talk about podcast hosting sites, the place that distributes your podcast to all the players. You know, Apple, Spotify, Audible, fill in the blank. Your hosting site is your library. It's the home for your show, and there's a lot of options out there. But I'm hearing some really bad advice out there from podcast gurus and people who think they understand podcasting, but they're leading people in the wrong direction. So I want to kind of just right the ship a little bit here and just get some facts out there into the world. And hopefully this helps you because, again, so many voices, so many things, some bad advice from podcast gurus. Oh, cue this song.
Bad advice from podcast gurus. Bad advice from podcast gurus.
Yeah, that song makes me happy. Okay. Bad advice from podcast gurus. Let's talk a little bit about hosting sites. And one of the things that I hear is that there are gurus that'll tell you that switching from podcast host A to podcast host B is going to increase your downloads. And that is not correct. What's going to make your podcast get more downloads is better content created on a regular basis that's valuable to an audience. That's how you're going to get more downloads. Just switching from one place to the other, it's the same thing. It might be a little different on the outside. It might look glossy and shiny and fancy, but it's still under the hood exactly the same thing. Distribution of your podcast is distribution of your podcast. And a hosting site, it's not going to make you better. It's just going to be a different price and different options and different teams. It's the same thing. So let's break that one right off the bat. Podcast hosting site, switching from one to the other is not going to make your show better. The next one would be that, how do we put this? That podcast hosting sites should be able to show you how long people listen to your episode. Podcast hosting sites cannot tell you how long someone has listened to your episode because that information isn't available to them to give to you. Your hosting site is what we would call a third party in the process. The actual apps where you are hosted on Apple and Spotify, and if you're on YouTube, which you should be on YouTube as well, they are first party data, meaning it comes from them inside of their world. Everybody says that Spotify and YouTube are walled gardens. Apple is a walled garden as well because Apple has information about their users that no one else can see or have access to. So if you want to know what's happening on Apple, you should be going to your Apple dashboard and looking at what's happening on Apple. If you want to know what's happening on Spotify, then go to your Spotify dashboard. It'll tell you exactly what's happening within the world of Spotify. YouTube, the same thing. Your hosting site, Apple Libsyn, Spotify, Buzzsprout, all those other places, they are only getting the information they're allowed to get, and they're only giving you what they can. But they can't give you data as far as individual episode retention rates, how long people listen to your show. That is not the point of your podcast hosting site. So stop thinking that, oh my gosh, these hosting sites would be better if they don't have those numbers for you. You need to go into Spotify, you need to go into Apple, and you need to go into YouTube. If you want to know exactly what's happening on those specific platforms with those specific audience members who use their platform, and that's that in addition to what you see in your podcast hosting site will give you the better information for your show to help you make better decisions. Bad advice from podcast gurus is that some places give you this and some places don't. Truly, if you want to know what's happening on Apple, you have to go to Apple, Spotify, and YouTube individually. And now I heard this one recently on a podcast as well from a podcast guru saying that if you host on Spotify, you're in the danger of losing your podcast. Okay, just a second here. It's the same as if you hosted on Buzzsprout and they disappeared for some reason, which I doubt that'll ever happen. But if they disappeared, it would happen. You'd lose that. If you ever had a social platform like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, what if they went away? Does that mean nobody uses those platforms because there's a potential that they might go away? Well, I'm on LinkedIn. Do you own LinkedIn? Are you in charge of LinkedIn? No, you're not. So You have no say whether or not LinkedIn will be there tomorrow, right? Exactly. So to say that Spotify is a bad place to host your podcast because they might go away, well, anything might go away. Then the internet might go away. Then why do anything? So that's really bad advice. If you like Spotify, then great. But it's not like they're going to close tomorrow, right? Maybe. Well, anything could close tomorrow. So if you're going to be pessimistic about podcast hosting sites, then all of them are going to close tomorrow, so we shouldn't be anywhere. Bad advice from podcast gurus. If you want to be on Spotify, then be on Spotify. Come on. Another piece of bad advice I heard from podcast gurus is that Spotify owns your content. So you shouldn't be on Spotify. Even you're hosted somewhere else, you should not connect your podcast to Spotify. And if you are on Spotify for creators, look out. You don't own your content anymore. Spotify owns it. Did you know? Did you know that if you're on a social platform, they also own your content? Do you know that you're on LinkedIn? There's terms of service for LinkedIn. There's terms of service for everything. And you probably have blindly clicked accept on your favorite platform of choice without reading through the terms and conditions to realize that you are also at the mercy of that app, that platform, that social channel, because you clicked, yes, I agree. And you never read. So, yes, Spotify owns your content. They own the platform. They own everything that happens on the platform. That makes sense. Why is it different than any social platform? Whatever you do anywhere on the internet, whatever platform you use, if you're not paying for it, there's ads, there's ways that they make money from your content. It's like what YouTube does. It's like what all the social platforms do. So I don't understand why you're holding Spotify to one standard and you're quietly ignoring all the other places where you post content that you don't have control over from end to end in the same way that Spotify does. So if you want to be on Spotify, then be on Spotify. And if you hear podcast gurus trashing specifically one platform for their terms of use, then my question to you is, what about all of the other places you're at that you never mention? Because it's got to be the same rule for everything, not just pinpointing one app over another. That's showing it's showing your bias right there. So keep that in mind. I also heard on a podcast recently that, and I don't want to make this a big Spotify commercial because it's not meant to be, but that on Spotify, there's no help. There is no customer support. There's nobody there who will answer your messages, and you're on your own. It's a free platform, so you get what you get. You don't pay for it, so you don't deserve anything. You're a terrible human if you use anything free, lotta. And I'm like, well, I went and tried it, and their customer support was amazing. I had a human being, not an app or an AI thing, actually talk to me. It was amazing. I got to get help on something and figured out something that wasn't clear in their information that now I could go help others with. And this whole idea that Spotify for creators as a hosting platform is a terrible choice because there's no customer service. Well, that is wrong. Spotify has a team. They help you. And if you've just not used their online chat feature, then that's kind of on you. They're there. They've helped me in the past. They're super amazing. They have great tech information. They've got stuff to help you when you have stuck on a question. I find it lazy and I find it a little ignorant that people just assume that because a platform is free, that it's got no value at all because it's free, and that it's going to be out of business in the next 6 weeks, which it isn't. They've been saying that for years, and it's still here. I get a little bit annoyed by gurus who think they know it all, and they dissuade people from using tools that they don't like because they're opinionated, they don't have affiliate codes, and so they don't talk about it. You can tell who, as a podcast guru, is supported by who. But if you listen to their content long enough, you'll understand. For NASCAR, those are for people who live outside of the U.S. and Canada. NASCAR it's a race. It's supposed to be like stock cars, like cars that are stock off the lot stock. That's what that meant by stock cars. And they just go in a race and they turn left for miles. And that's it. That's the race. It's a big circle, big oval, and they just do this thing over and over and over and over again. People get excited. Yay. Well, the one thing when the drivers jump out of their cars and take their helmet off, if you look at their clothes, they're covered with badges. The cars covered with badges. They get all the promotion, all the people who support them, all the people who put ads on their cars and on their body, their outfit, their driving suit. You'll see all the different patches. And I wish in podcasting that every podcast guru had to have on them, stitched on their clothes, stitched all over their podcast, a clear representation of all the people who give them money to do what they do. And you'll see why these people talk about certain places and talk down to everyone else, because they have all these people sliding money across the table to them saying, talk about this. And I've had people try to reach out to me and slide money across the table. I picked up the table and threw it and walked out of the room, because I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to take somebody's money and put them in front of you and say, you got to use this tool because I'm getting paid to tell you so. I don't work for a podcast company. I don't have any bosses in my show. I have nobody reviewing my content. I was listening to one podcaster who recently got sold to a company. He's continuing to do his show, and he outright slandered another company on the show. And I really want to reach out to the parent company now that owns this person's podcast and go, do you agree with what your employee said on your podcast now that you purchased this show? Because they just said something liable about another company, and I would think that the lawyers wouldn't really like it. I really want to do that. But there you go, right? People sell their shows, people get bought, people get sponsored, and then they have to do what their leaders and their sponsors tell them to do. I don't do that. I don't have anybody above me. It's just me, Dave, who pays for everything myself. It's me. I don't have any allegiance to anyone. So when you listen to this show, it is meant to be for independent podcasters. I promote free tools. I put out things for you, and I talk about things that I use so that you can use these tools as well, because I think they're helpful. Nobody is sliding any money across the table. There's no manila envelope. Here's a little bit of cash. Dave, talk about this. No, absolutely not. I don't, because I want to be completely out from underneath anybody's umbrella as far as what I can and cannot talk about on the show. And I am not biased the way other podcast gurus are. So when you come to this show, you will not hear me promoting the business I work for as my main sponsor for the show, because I don't have one. It's me. Bad advice from podcast gurus. Check your sources. And if we could have NASCAR badges on our podcast gear and on our show that identified who we really work for, I think you might be going, wait a minute. Yeah. Some people are just here for the money. Some people are here to help. I hope that you get from me that I'm here to help. And that's what I do on my show. So that's my thing. So bad advice from podcast gurus. Be careful when people are pushing you away from something. There's a reason behind it. Dig deeper, understand their bias before you jump and follow them down a wormhole, because you might find out that they were wrong all the time and there are better choices out there. If you want an unbiased, unaccountable podcast, I'm not accountable to anybody. It's just me and you. I'm accountable to you. That's what I would say. I'm accountable to you. And if you need help with your show from an unbiased source, howtopodcast.ca. See you tomorrow. Hey, if you found value in the show, I'd really appreciate you going over to our Buy Me a Coffee. Check it out. People have been wonderfully kind and helping support the show by purchasing Dave a coffee. And, my coffee is generally always like, I got a quarter of a cup and I'm like, I should have drank all that. I need to refill. So if you can help the show, awesome. For you that have a Buy Me a Coffee or considering it, keep in mind too that you can set up like a Patreon style of monthly support for your show through Buy Me a Coffee, where you can set up levels and people can pay at different levels for different amounts. And it's a monthly ongoing payment, not just a single coffee purchase. So I love that for us as podcasters, that we can start building into our community and give them extra value. You can set the tiers, you can set the bonuses and what's available at each tier. I wouldn't go too high, but I wouldn't go too low as well. And set up different tiers and let your audience do that. I've actually set it up and I've already had my first membership, which is outstanding. Ralph, thank you. It's great to have people in our world that support us as podcasters, and Buy Me a Coffee allows you to do that Patreon style without being on Patreon. So if you want to, and you already have Buy Me a Coffee, you're considering between the two, try that, because again, Buy Me a Coffee allows you to have the benefit of one-time coffee purchases or monthly, like a Patreon. They also have a storefront, and you can create, like if you're an author, you could have a bonus chapter that didn't make it in your book. People can buy that. You could have a private podcast that's only available through paid access to that private, non-public facing podcast. So you can have something very special, very unique, and use your storefront on Buy Me a Coffee to be the way to handle all the transaction fees and the credit cards and all that. There's a setting also in Buy Me a Coffee I'd encourage you to turn on where you will cover any kind of credit card fees for anybody that gives to your show through Buy Me a Coffee. I turn that on. I don't want you to have to pay a credit card fee to support my show, so I'll eat that cost. So think about that. Buy Me a Coffee. It's there on the howtopodcast.ca website in the show notes. Thanks for your support. I'll talk to you soon. You're still here. Amazing. That is outstanding. Thank you for sticking around. Everyone else is gone. So before we go, I just wanted to have some time with you. Thanks. Thank you. Somebody asked me, Dave, how did you find your voice in podcasting? How long did it take to find your voice? And I said, well, my response to them, it was the way that I found my voice was by using it. That's it. Just using my voice. My early episodes of the show, all my different podcasts I've done, not perfect. They were the best I could do at the time. Do what you can with what you have where you are, right? I did my best and I grew because I did more and more and more of the thing. Everything that you do on a repetitive nature, you become better at. Walking, running, riding a bike, driving a car, anything that you've done, relationships, anything that you've been a part of, the more you do something, the better at it you become. So the best way to find your voice is to use your voice. And when people bury themselves in books and courses and websites and podcasts about podcasting, but never do the thing, they never step forward. They never put themselves out there in their messy state of imperfection because they're just so afraid of being judged. You've already been judged 1,000 times. Don't worry about it. People have been judging you for years. You're totally unaware of it. It happens in public. It happens when you drive. It happens when the way you dress, the way you speak. Everything. People have been judging you for years, so you need to get over that. Find your voice by using your voice. Just get out there and do the thing, even if it's not perfect, because you will build upon the successes and the failures of the past. By using your voice, that's how you find your voice. So if you're struggling with this and you're like, Dave, I'm really, really having a hard time with this, then please reach out. Let's have a conversation. Why are you doing this alone? We have a podcasting community, a meetup group. We meet twice a week. It's been going for almost 4 years now. Like, come on, there's no excuse. You can make it out to that. You can make that a priority. If that doesn't work for you and the times don't work, then reach out to me at howtopodcast.ca. Calendar's right there. No excuse. You can go there and have time with me right like this week. Let's get together and talk through some of the things that you feel are holding you back. There's room for you in podcasting, and we need you. We really, really need you. There's a lot of gaps in podcasting right now that you would be the perfect one to fill. And without you, those audiences will never have the opportunity to experience podcasting. So we need you. We need you now. Reach out to me at howtopodcast.ca. Let's get you from I'm not sure to I'm on Apple, I'm on Spotify, I'm on all the places. I can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah, let me get you from I got an idea to I am a podcaster. That's my goal. howtopodcast.ca. Take care.